I want to, before I go any further, I want to say this. I had it all written down. I have it all written out, you see it, but I want to skip the poetry and the metaphors and the temptation to deal in long, drawn-out rhetoric that may sound good, but would really be empty and vague. I choose this opportunity to reflect on the flesh and blood and the heart and soul of the times when we were younger and thinner and had more hair and less money. It was a time when winning was the way life was for us. And that we knew no other way but to win. And you're right about Coach Mitchell and Jesse. And even though they were my students, they still owe me. So. we had the best team and the prettiest girls. I always felt that, and I was all over Memphis because, you know, being a young teacher living out in Orange Mound, and even at that time, they had me doing different things with the Cotton Carnival, and so I had an opportunity to meet students of the school. And I said, Melrose said, the prettiest girls, the finest men to, the men know they were good looking also. You didn't understand what was all the hullabaloo about black is beautiful. We know we're beautiful. It was no big deal about, say I'm loud and I'm proud. Say it loud. Black and I'm proud. And we did that. But the thing important is that you already knew that because we told you every day how beautiful you were. The thing about it, it was a time when truly good music, like we've been hearing all night, with the Temptations and the Four Tops, and Jack was, at this time, my friend Jack was supposed to play the music, but y'all already had it now, so I'm not going to play the music because we already have the good music. Good. Music, Rudy. It wouldn't take nobody that long to break some water. I didn't tell you about this. You have all of this. What is this? I gotta put this in this. Jess was so scared. But see, I taught James, it's my first year, and I remember it's my first year teaching. So I taught James, his brother. James taught, I never met a person, a student that taught as much as James. So when they got ready, we all were in the hall, and it was calling names of students to go to this seat, to Miss Rollins, and plan. So they called Jess, but no, I don't want Jess's. I didn't much. But I learned the greatest lesson of my life. I didn't get it, Miss Rollins got it, but I learned that you never, the children are not like, I don't care if they're twins. They are not alike. And I was so sure that Jesse was just like James, that he was, and he kept that against me for years. Years. Jesse tells everybody about that. But we're good friends, and I love him. He wasn't 2 years older now. I was 2 years older. But Jesse, you can sit down there. But back in the day, you would rather take 2 lickings from school than that your parents know you've been out of order. That's right. It was a time when lie, lay, and lane, you know what's going with Miss Rock, Miss Eccles. The verbs lie, lay, and lane. And in order for her to explain to you how it went, what did she do? Instead of get on top of the table, the desk. But that's all right, you get it. But anyway, lie, lay, and lane. But Latin was still a dead language. Mr. Fletcher, bless you. It was a time when seniors only could occupy the front campus. Remember that? Only the seniors could be on the front campus. It was the best of times. It was a time, though, when racism raised its ugly head that eventually caused the death and destruction of two American great leaders, Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy. Racism. But think what we have endured just being black in America in 1962 and how far we have come. It was the worst of times. It was through the good times and the bad times that we were taught, though, to love our country, America, and to take civic courses seriously, to take the history courses seriously, even before you were old enough to vote. You learned that voting was very important to change the way society disrespected the law. So we began voting, and slowly things changed. Voting has power. So let's never forget that, and let's not lose that privilege. Thank God we have lived long enough to see a super qualified black man become president, not only for one term, but for two. Melrose, my school. But you know, today, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And that's things that I'm going to use along with the way we were. We catch it up on myself now. It's going to be all right, I guess. Oh yes, the spirit of Melrose and how it lives on. When you realize, as much as I do because I'm here, that Melrose School has the alumni. I haven't, gone through the internet to find out, but I would say that it's one of the best alumni chapters in the city, in this city anyway. In the country, we really should say. You see this building you're in? You see that, don't you? Yes. And this is not, those of you who are not from here, this is our community. This is the community center. The community helps people from all over the city and counties come here for health services and for other services. And I am so proud of it. All this is only my second or third time being here. I am very, very proud of it. They keep scholarships going to the alumni. And there's something that your class could do and probably will do, is to send money to the scholarship funds to deserving students that they send on trips and they buy books and they help them to get scholarships. And Melrose is just alive. But you know what really blew my mind, and speaking of the spirit of Melrose, is when I was told to go to the internet, and by the way, I text. I just want you to know that. That when I heard that all I need to do is to go to my iPad. Look at his back button. Aaron, look at Aaron. That's my iPad. All right now. And he is taking the picture. But I was told to go to that pad and you go to the computer. And I know you know this now. And look for what is needed, melroseyearbook.com. Your mind will be blown. I tell you, her baby brother, now I call him, which did, Apostle Alton Williams has taken the creative genius and put everything that happened at Melrose from 1946 to 2000 on the internet. All you have to do, don't take my word, I didn't believe it either. I went to it and I couldn't believe it. And the first thing you do is look at your own picture. Oh, look at me in 1940, look at me. You see everything on the internet if you go, what is it, Nene? www.melroseyearbooks.com. It is the genius of the creative mind of Apostle Alton Williams. I think she give me another beginning. The one thing about it, it'll be there forever, because the internet lives forever, and the Melrose lives on. But one thing about this age we live in, this super activated technology, where everyone has a personal connection. Even 5-year-old children have cell phones, videos, and internet access, where we can allow the entire world to visit our homes, not realizing our immediate gullible children are often the innocent prey. Texting and Twittering and Facebooks are slowly kicking out the legitimate concept of spelling correctly. If you get what I mean, because in texting, what do you right? You make everything brief. And for children, if a child is seeing this every day, they think that's the way the word is really spelled. So we got to be careful. Although technology is wonderful, we got to be very, very. You can't tell me when to stop. I just want to that. Steve just gets up and after well. But the chat room, be careful. The chat room and all these other Twittering. I don't know all that, but I do know that it does demand that we should be careful with children are concerned. We are more responsible now than ever before, so in our choices, so we have to be careful. It's up to us. I want you to always remember how special you are. You were embedded with good old Melrose spirit, and not only were you taught academics, but you were taught how to be fine ladies and wonderful gentlemen. Yes. That is why we organize the clubs like the Charmettes and the Jacquelettes, the Gaylords, and the Knights. Those organizations were organized for a purpose, and the purpose was to teach you social skills and how to be gracious and how to be responsible. And of course, there were other organizations that helped us. And one is, of course, the Destin Drama Club. You know who did that? The band and the pep squad. You know who was there also. You had great teachers. I was proud to rub shoulders with all of them. Creative tactics of Mrs. Eccles Reeves again, the quiet genius of Mrs. Gladys Knight, and the no-nonsense declaration of Mr. Cecil Goodlow. But my favorite career, of course, was Maggie McDowell. She was an angel. Our principal, Mr. Campbell, we have to admit that we need more principals like Mr. Campbell in our schools today. There will certainly be less gun-toting, slapping teachers, classroom disorders, and boys just shoot down to where they shouldn't be. Classroom chaos would not be said. We need classroom principals like Mr. Campbell. I can truthfully say that the years I spent in Melrose as a teacher were truly the best years of my life, and I say that with no, I'm not ashamed, it's the truth. It was my life. Melrose was my life. All those 24 years. My young years were there, and everybody I see today, I meet, it's hardly not a day that I don't go when I'm out, whenever my nephew let me in my car, whenever I can go somewhere, they would see me and then they've been in Melrose. And they get Miss Plant. So that's good. So that's it. As Melrose as a teacher for all 24 years, and it's wonderful. I love you so much because loving people, especially young people, when you were young, and loving you now is second nature to me. I tried to help and encourage you in every way that I could. You were very precious. And if you notice, I called all my students at that time angels. You were angels. And angels, the word angels to students, you have to remember that there were some kids who didn't get any loving. And I didn't do it at that time. That was just my thing. You're angel. Of course, the boys indicated, B-Head, Jesse, and all those people. Today, as Francine told you, I am Professor Emeritus of the University of Memphis, and I stayed there 21 years, and